The United States Embassy in South Africa has issued a terror warning to its staff. The embassy told the staff to avoid the Sandton area over the weekend, owing to intelligence it has received over a potential attack. In the meantime, the South African government, through its spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya, says that it has noted the warning.
The African government has noted the terror alert issued by the U.S. Embassy on its website. This is part of the U.S. government's standard communication to its citizens. It is the responsibility of the South African security forces to ensure that all people within our country feel safe. Law enforcement agencies continue to monitor for any threats to our citizens, our nation, and our sovereignty.
South African journalist and editor Dianne Hawker joins me now to discuss this story further. Good to see you, Dianne. Now, how did this warning come to light?
Well, Suleiman, just to clarify there, the warning was issued not only to the embassy staff, but also to U.S. citizens living in South Africa. Now, the U.S. Embassy is actually located in the Sandton area. It is in quite a busy precinct in the Sandton area, located quite close to the main shopping center in Sandton, as well as to the Gautrain station. So one would imagine that, any US citizens who might also be visiting the embassy or just be in South Africa over this weekend would at some point go to the Sandton area. And as a result of that, this warning has been issued. There isn't much information from the embassy or from the South African government as to what might have led to this. All that the alert says is that they have information that terrorists might be planning to conduct an attack targeting large gatherings of people at an unspecified location. However, they did say that citizens should avoid the area of Sandton over this weekend, both on Saturday and Sunday.
And Dianne, as we try to get, a sense of what this truly is about, is South Africa not known to be a target of terrorists?
Well, to be honest, Suleiman, we haven't had any major terrorist incidents in South Africa over the years. There have, of course, been scares where there have been people linked through criminal proceedings to terror organizations. One story that stood out a few years ago was a pair of twins called the Tulsi twins, who were linked to plots to attack US-based and Jewish facilities in the country. However, they were apprehended before any such thing took place, and they spent about 6 years behind bars awaiting trial. And then ultimately there was an agreement reached with the National Prosecuting Authority as a result of their long time spent behind bars. Another incident that does stand out is a woman by the name of Samantha Lithwaite, who is known internationally as the White Widow. She was linked to the Kenya attacks a few years ago, I think 2003 or 2013 or 2012, and she was said to have operated out of Johannesburg for some time, but was not involved in any incidents that took place in this country. There is, of course, due to our shared border with countries like Mozambique, which have been experiencing terror issues, there has been a close eye being kept on those borders by the South African authorities, as well as security experts in this region, sort of to make sure that those issues do not spill over into South Africa. However, I think the warning does come at a time where, we do actually have a number of big events planned for this weekend. The Johannesburg Pride event, for example, is expected to be taking place in Sandton over the weekend, and the organizers of that event said that they would monitor the situation closely, as well as another event called Basha Uhuru, which takes place annually at Constitution Hill. It's meant to be an arts and music event that kind of celebrates the Constitution and freedoms that South Africans have, and that's also taking place over this weekend. 2 different locations, but of course a concern considering this notice that was put out earlier today.
Now, following the concern, earlier we had the South African government through Vincent Magwenya put out a brief response to the warning. How confident are South Africans to the government's response?
Well, it's a tricky question, to be quite honest with you, since we haven't had an incident like this, and we haven't had the government have to deal with this kind of incident. South Africa has, of course, has seen a lot of political unrest, and that's something that we do know that our authorities are familiar with. If you look at the July unrest that took place and some of the labor issues that do take place in this country, political unrest is something that we are very familiar with. In the event of an attack like this, it's not really clear how the South African government would deal with it. But I think what is very encouraging to South African citizens is that we do have, a police force that is pretty functional. We have a crime intelligence department. We do seem to have quite good ties with other countries in the sort of the SADC region, and are often assisting other countries when it comes to issues that they are experiencing, as well as a military that is quite responsive when it comes to domestic issues where they've been called to step in. And one would hope that that security apparatus that is set up in South Africa would be able to be activated if anything happened, and of course to be able to stop anything if there were anything to take place.
Dianne Hawker, many thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you.